particularly personal this morning. You ever had a time in your life when you felt like it was such a mess, or there was so much stress on you, so many challenges on you, you just couldn't face it?
Yeah, I've been there.
Okay. Now that we think back of a time when you really felt this way. And it doesn't matter what age you are. I mean, sometimes we have things, and I remember when I was in grade school, there were times that I felt like life was just a mess. And it seemed like nothing I did kind of worked. Nobody liked me. You know, those kinds of things. At times you felt that way. You felt like so. I know I'm asking for a deep personal thing here. Somebody share a time when they just felt so low. Maybe it's now.
I think that's where I'm at right now. I'm in this valley.
Mm-hmm.
But I know the Lord is with me.
Mm-hmm.
But there's still a tremendous loneliness.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that it'll pass. It's just very hard right now.
Mm-hmm. It's hard to share that, wasn't it?
Yes. I'm a Christian. I shouldn't be walking in this valley.
Oh no. See, that's not true.
I know it's not true.
We're going to walk through valleys. We've talked about that in here, haven't we? Some of the valleys that we've walked through. Those are the times of growth.
I don't want to grow.
You don't want to grow. I appreciate that. But that's where we get to. We don't want to grow at that point. We want it to just go away. We just want it to go away. That's where we're at here in Acts chapter 16. We have this story going on here. Paul and Silas were going back and forth to where they worshiped. Remember, they worshiped down by the river. They had Lydia was the first convert in that area. And here they are, they're going back and forth. And as they're going back and forth, what's happening here? This slave girl, this girl who's a slave, is hollering out. What is she hollering out here? She says, "These men are servants of the Most High God who are telling you the way to be saved." And every day that they go, she's hollering this out. And we don't know if it's what we find out why, but at this point, Paul's like, he just gets irritated with it. You ever get irritated with somebody that just kind of, I know if I would have walked in school, one of the things that we were told, we had to carry our Bible in high school and in middle school, and I was thinking, if I carried my Bible around and I had this person hollering beside me the whole time, these very words, how are you going to act? How are you going to act? These men, if he said this guy is a servant of the Most High God and is telling you the way to be saved. How would you feel walking in school like that? With somebody saying that alongside of you all the time. He got a little frustrated. So he turns and says to her, what does he say here? He turned and he said, in the name of Jesus Christ, I command you, come out of her. And at that moment, the spirit left her. Now we're talking about a slave girl here. She's being run by other people, controlled because she could predict the future. And she was predicting, saying who these people were, but it was the demon inside her that was doing this. And all of a sudden now, that demon comes out because Paul cast the demon out. Now these guys have no way to make money. When they realized that their hope of making money was gone, they seized Paul and Silas and dragged them into the marketplace to face the authorities. And so here they are, they're facing the authorities, and the authorities then order them to be beaten and thrown into jail. And they tell the jailer to keep them, make sure they don't get out. And so we're going to talk here about the jailer this morning, because he's the one that really is going to be in dire need here in a moment, as he put him in the inner room because he wanted to make sure they didn't get out. And he had them secure. Everything was locked up. All the prisoners were locked up. And Paul and Silas begin, even though they've been beaten very severely, they start to sing. They're singing hymns and songs, and all the other jailers are listening, and we don't know what, they're having some kind of revival, I guess. I don't know. Maybe they're just in so much pain they have to sing because the pain of the beating. I don't know. They just have to distract themselves, but everybody's listening. And all of a sudden, what happens? An earthquake. An earthquake happens, and all the doors are opened, and all the chains fall off. And I'm not sure. I know why Paul and Silas didn't run, but I'm not sure why the other guys didn't run. Because there were more guys than just them there, but they didn't run. And the jailer wakes up because he thought they were secure and he was in good shape, and so he went to sleep. And he wakes up, and suddenly he realizes the doors are all open. And he has no idea how long they've been open. How are you going to feel about right now if you're that jailer? Kind of like Alda just said, you just feel like there's no place out, no place to go. I don't want to be here. I'm done with this. This isn't working for me. It's a mess. Everybody been in there? Been there? Where have you been in life? Somebody else. Where have you been in life where you just felt like, Tracy, did you? Yeah, and even worse than that, it was on your birthday, wasn't it, when you were told? What? Mhm. I think we can all think back of some time in our life, if not, like Alda said, going here recently and what she's going through right now. A lot of challenges in life, isn't there? A lot of those times in life where we just don't know what to do. It's a mess. We have no idea. Maybe it's finances. Maybe it's divorce. Maybe there's so many things that can happen. And yet, and I think that's where this jailer's at here. He's just going, oh no, what do I do? And the only thing he could think of is suicide. Been that deep? Some of us have. Some of us have thought that. But he's ready to end his life. He's ready to end his life. And Paul and Silas holler out, we're all still here. Whew. That just took a load off his back, didn't it? But he still says, what must I do to be saved? And I don't, when he says that, I'm not sure he's thinking religiously about Jesus, but so much, what can I do to be saved? What can I do to be saved through this pain that I'm going through this challenge that I've got here? Because I know what's going to happen. You know, if they'd escaped, what was going to happen to him? He was going to be killed if he didn't kill himself. Go back to what Herod did. This isn't Herod, but what Herod did to the jailers that when Peter got loose, when Peter got out, he executed the jailers. It was typical in that time. You know, if you lost a prisoner, you suffered their crime. Whatever they were supposed to get, you got. And oftentimes that was death. So, in your life, what must I do to be saved? What do I do to be saved? And sometimes it's a mess we get our own selves into. You know, if it's a financial thing, maybe you've gotten yourself into that mess. What do I do to be saved? You ever cried out like that? You cry out, what in the world can I do, God? How can I be saved today? What can happen? And that's where the jailer is at. I'm just trying to get you to, think about where that's at, where this guy is at. He's at the lowest of all times. The lowest of low. Maybe he's never lost a prisoner before. Probably not, because he's still alive, right? The challenge he's facing here. We all, I think, have adverse circumstances that we go through, and it's during those times when we just really don't know what to do. And we can think about different ones in the Bible that had that. Think about the thief on the cross. We're coming up to Easter. Think about the thief on the cross. He's about to die, right? And he knows he's going to die. There's nothing about it. But he deserved to be there. But did he want to be there? No. But he asked God to be with him. He said, help me. For some, it was being blind or lame, and God healed them. You know, think about not being able to walk, not being able to see, and crying out for God to help. Maybe you're sick. Maybe life has been challenging for you in that area, and you're crying out for help. You no longer want to have this pain. I know what pains are. I don't want to have back pain anymore. I don't want to have pain. But it happens. It happens. And here we are. This jailer is now crying out, what must I do to be saved? And Paul and Silas do look at it as a religious choice about this time. Because Paul, if you think about this time here, who are the only free ones really in this story? Who are the only ones that are really free? Paul and Silas. But wait a minute, they were just put in jail. How can they be free when they're in jail? But if you think about the slave girl, was she free? Not at first, she wasn't, right? She was a slave to men human form, but she was also a slave to what? The spirit world. She was a slave. And then you had these guys that were slave owners. Were they free? What was their problem? What? Greed. Yeah, they were slaves to greed, weren't they? How about the magistrates who threw them into jail? Power? Possibly power. Maybe fear. Because what would happen if they had this, all of a sudden they had this riot in this area? What's going to happen? The Romans might come, the rest of the whole group might come in to take over and rule it. And they didn't want that. They didn't want that at all. But so the only ones who are really free, and then of course the jailer, is he free? What is jailer? What bounds the jailer? He's in jail more than the prisoners, but why? What puts him in jail here? What keeps him from being free? Okay, maybe his superiors. That may be part of it. Possibly it's just fear. He's afraid he's going to lose his prisoners and he's going to die. Oftentimes when you fear something, it's the one thing that comes true, isn't it? So each one of them had something, and these were, to Paul and Silas, this was simple. This was a God choice here. I don't like to use the word religion, but it's a religious choice. It's a God choice. When he asks, what must I do to be saved? It's simple. And what is that? Believe on Jesus, and you will be saved. And you will be saved. And he did. Not only he actually cleaned their wounds, he washed them, took care of them, and him and his whole household were saved. What an amazing thing that happens. But yet, Paul and Silas had to go through a lot of punishment for that, didn't they? But I bet you they're rejoicing here when it happens. Now, Paul and Silas actually do become free because the next morning, what happens? The magistrates tell the jailer to release them. Well, I don't know for sure how you look at that, but when they were told that, Paul and Silas didn't exactly walk out, did they? They said, no, wait a minute. We're Roman citizens. You beat us without a trial. You're not supposed to do that. You come, magistrates. You come here and you lead us out of this jail. But they became, think about it. They were the only free ones, but yet they were in jail, and now they're really the ones that are free. But who else is free now? What's that? The jailer's free. Who else is free? The slave girl is at least free from the demon, right? The rest of their jailer's household is free because they know Jesus. Now Paul and Silas are free. But those who put them there are now afraid. It just kind of turns back around on them. God's amazing that way, isn't he? Isn't he amazing that way? And what Tracy didn't end up saying is a lot of those things that happened to her was exactly what brought her to where she needed to be, so then when this guy by the name of Ken Duckworth met with her and talked to her and told her that he knew a guy that would be a better father, basically, and a better brother. He would be there for her all the time. He would never leave her or forsake her. It changed her life. Just like this jailer's life was changed, he was at his worst and lowest, and God lifted him up and saved him. I'd love to hear the rest of the story when it comes to the jailer and his family. I look forward to hearing that story when we get to heaven. What else happened there? Where did they go? What did they do? Did they stay there? Did he continue to, maybe reform the jail a little bit? Who knows? We don't know. But we do know that it was started because Paul and Silas loved Jesus. And they went to share the gospel with others. There's going to be challenges we're going to face everywhere we go. But there is always a way out of the mess. There is a way out. Now, is that going to solve all of our problems? You mentioned Alda earlier. It's not, you're a Christian, right, Alda? You know Jesus. I know, that's why, but did that solve all your problems?
No.
It's not, has it? No. Don't you wish it would?
It
One day it will.
I know.
But you're right now, it's not going to solve all your problems, and we know that. but it sure will make everything better. It's going to make more life worth living because you have Jesus right along beside you in everywhere you go. And I hope you have Christian friends around you as well who come alongside of you. And we've talked about mentoring and being there, a support for others in the last couple of weeks. Are you doing that? Are you looking for others? The opportunity to share in someone else's life who needs that? That's what we're supposed to do. Just like the jailer turned around and what did he do? He washed their wounds. After he became saved, he washed their wounds. He took care of them. That's what we're supposed to do, is take care of each other, because Paul and Silas were probably going through some pain, don't you think? That couldn't have been easy. But they had someone also to take care of them eventually here. And that's what we're supposed to do. We take care of each other. Like I said, He's not going to solve all your challenges, all your problems, but He sure will make it better. Take Him alongside of you. We have an opportunity at the end of the week here to come and bring somebody with you just to share a meal together and enjoy a time on Saturday morning. Bring somebody. If you want to help, come help. We'll come about 7:30 and you can help through the meal. If you want to help, we'd be glad to have you there. But it's an opportunity to share love in just a simple way. Bring somebody, ask somebody to come, and let's share together. Let's share the opportunity to share God's word with them. And it may be in doing for them. Whatever it is. It's an opportunity. So I look forward to it, and I hope you can join us on Saturday as well. So, Bev, would you pray specifically for Alda? Could you do that right now?
Father, thank you for Alda. I thank you for her life, for her faithfulness to you. And right now, I want to pray Deuteronomy 33:29 for her. The eternal God is a dwelling place, and underneath are the everlasting arms. Hard to feel that sometimes. But I know, Lord, your arms are around her, and you're going to help her through this hard time. Pray that you will encourage her and strengthen her. Surround her with people that encourage her and lift her up to the Lord. Pray for your strength to be living through her today and throughout the coming days.
Dear Lord, we thank you for today. We thank you for your blessings. I pray that you would bless each person here as they go out this week. Lord, give them a great week with you and knowing each other and knowing other people and sharing your love with others. In Jesus' precious name, amen.